how could our listener today, who is a podcaster, make sure that they're monetizing their show using something that you could help them with?
Right. Yeah. So courses are definitely an option. I think it's a good idea to coach people first. If you're like really green with this, always be building your audience, but I think it's good to work with some people till you find a system that you can use, and then you can replicate that into a course. Because when I'm coaching you, you can ask me questions. I can change things up. I can change the entire system to be like, here's a better way to make this work for you. And then of course you're pretty much making a carbon copy of that system where people can follow it, but you want to make sure that it works and that it's transformative for people. So I think that using your podcast personally and structuring it kind of depends on your audience though, because like you and me, it goes back to that trifecta of I'm a creator helping creators by interviewing creators. You're a podcaster helping podcasters by interviewing other podcasters. And it goes full circle. And there's this period, if you can structure your show in that way, it takes some creativity. I'm not going to lie. And I'm still trying to figure out how to make this really work, because it's a really pretty new thing where I started doing these interviews like this. It's like fairly new the way I've been approaching it. But I think about your podcast episode. In the beginning, you kind of build rapport, get to know the person, and then you do the episode and you're asking questions and you're, again, building rapport, and you're building that know, like, and trust factor. And you can kind of sprinkle in like the way that you help people and talk about your story and the way you do things. And naturally, when you stop the recording, there's going to be that afterwards period after you're done recording. And that's kind of something I just call like the golden window, basically. And it's your opportunity to tell them, here's when your episode is going to be launched. Here, and you can just give them like logistics or whatever. And then I always like to open up a question of, okay, well, like, how can I support you? What are you working on right now? And it's just like a really open-ended, like simple question. They'll be like, oh, I'm trying to build a course. Or if I talked about it earlier, they'll refer that and be like, I was actually trying to do that. And like, but my system is total crap because it's not making any sales. And I'll be like, oh, okay, well, do you want some help with that? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then I'm like, cool. So we open up their thing and kind of check through. And then from there, I invite them to another call where we can sit down and do the quote unquote strategy session or discovery call, where I go deeper into it, ask them even more questions. And at the end of that, I can ask them, here's what it looks like to work with me. Like, do you want to sign up? Here's how much it is. So I'm creating these strategy sessions through the podcast. And that's a great way, I think, to get out there. It's just to like interview your audience. But again, it takes creativity to kind of find like that trifecta, like both you and I have, Adam, for someone else. So That's one way. But when you start getting an audience, and on my podcast, when you were on, we were both talking about how it's like choosing between interview style or doing solo episodes. And you were kind of saying like, if you're doing interviews, like you should do some solo episodes. So as you're doing these interviews, you can be creating these conversations with people where you can invite people to a strategy session and then sprinkle in some solo episodes where you offer your lead magnet. And at least if you're just getting started and you don't even have a program yet, and you're still kind of finding your system with your private clients that you're getting, on these solo episodes, you can say, if it's podcasting, like, hey, we made a whole podcasting gear guide. It's my gift to you. There's a link in the description. Make sure you pick it up. People click on it. They put in their email address. And now they're on your email list. And you can be building up that email list. When your email list is like at least 300 people, then it's a good time to start thinking about like, I could build a program, but you could be getting traffic from the people and building your podcast where it's getting more regular listeners by doing these interviews that are also creating conversations for you. And then as the show grows, then you can do these solo episodes and invite people to get on your email list. So people are running through and they're like, ooh, cool, a solo episode. And again, like you said, they could be short. They could be like 5-10 minutes, but you offer this lead magnet. And that's the important thing. And once a podcast episode is created, much like my YouTube videos, it lives on forever. And people, as long as you're getting listeners, people will be able to listen to that while you're chilling in Sweden or while you're, driving over to Moab or whatever it is that you're trying to do.
You have a good memory.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I would think about this strategy in terms of podcasting.